Hey family, what's up? This is Coach Cookie, your life and relationship coach. If this is your first time listening in, thank you so much for joining me today. If you like what you hear, please give the podcast a like, comment, and don't forget to share with your family and friends. To all my regular listeners out there, welcome back. And I want you to know that you're greatly appreciated. Here at Rising Higher, I'm going to give you some snippets for success to not only help you to survive, but to help you thrive. Now, in today's episode, we're going to talk about the aftermath from narcissistic abuse. Yes, but before we do that, let's talk about the high points from last week's episode called Why the Narcissist Hoovers You. Now, in this episode, I had to remind my listeners that the narcissist's main purpose in life is to thrive on drama and having people to victimize in order to fulfill their needs in some type of way. So with that being said, they will use every trick in the book to get you back in their life. I provided my listeners with some sneaky Hoover tactics that you won't even realize that is a Hoover in order to get you back. If this sounds like something you would like to learn more about, go back and check out the entire episode. Again, it's called Why the Narcissist Hoovers You. Now, today on Cookie's Commentary, I have a special word for all my women who are thinking about or you are actually back out on the dating scene. Of course, you have to be in the right frame of mind mentally before you get back out there on the dating scene. So if you have not done the inner work, don't get back out there. Don't try to date again. Don't do it. You're just going to be back in the same trap that you were in before, and you're going to go through that same abusive cycle. But for my other women who think that you're ready, let me give you a little something to think about as you get back out there on the dating scene, or as you are out there on the dating scene. Now, a lot of time as women, we are givers, empaths, and pleasure seekers. Yes, giving is what you feel like you have to do, and you carry that around like that is your occupation. And for some reason, we just love to do that. You usually say to yourself, I really get a lot out of giving. But when it comes to receiving, you feel oftentimes very uncomfortable, or you don't even realize that you need to receive. But I'm here to tell you today that it's okay for you to receive. In other areas of our lives, giving can get you a reward. Like, for example, on your job, the more you work, the more money you make. But women, you have to learn and you have to realize and recognize that this same concept does not work well when we talk about our relationships. It actually works in reverse, which means that the less you do when it comes to romantic relationships, the more you get in return. It's like showing up for work and not putting in any work, but you're going to still get a paycheck. Now, for most of my women that don't understand this concept, you need to know that this is how it usually works. And this is how men think, and usually women think that they get rewarded for the opposite. So you need to kind of understand this concept and put this in your mind while you're out there on the dating scene. Okay, here's the real deal when it comes to men. They value what they have to work for. If it's too easy for them, then they don't value, they don't appreciate you, they don't respect you. And it all of a sudden they get, like the men, they get lazy and they sit back and they expect for you to do all the work. Women, listen to me. You have to know your worth. This is one of the big reasons why you need to work on your healing and get yourself together before you get back out there, because you got to have some worth with this one. Remember, you don't have to work to get validation. If you have really gone through your healing journey, those days are in the past. As a result, you should no longer feel like you have to work for a man or earn him. If you feel like you have to do the work, this is when he realizes that you don't know your worth. And basically, they just use you and walk all over you. Now, listen, to me, you guys, just think about this. We are not talking about a toxic, no good narcissist man right now. We are talking about a good quality, intelligent, God-fearing man. Think about it. Like, in the word, think about what it says in the word of God. It instructs men to lay down their life like for that woman, like Christ laid down his life for the church. It didn't say anything about the woman doing any work. Why? Because he expects the man to work for that woman so he can learn how to honor, respect, and value her. Again, God has designed the mind of a man to only value and respect a woman when he is given the opportunity to work for her. So for all my women out there thinking, why I can't find a really good quality man? Why? Because that is not your job to find one. The man is going to come to you. It's really simple. If you do all the work and they are not given that opportunity to do the work for a woman, that calculates to a man that I can't respect or value you, which in his mind means that you are not wife material. Why is that? Because again, God has designed the mind of a man to only value and respect a woman when he is given the opportunity to work for her. Now, some of my women out there, they're listening to this and they're thinking, girl, you crazy. You've lost your mind. So how am I supposed to do that? Listen, I need for all my women to start thinking and acting like a queen. Queens are not sitting around waiting for a man to validate her. Now, you're not going to look for this anymore when you're healed. So for all my women out there who are healed, this is not going to be difficult for you. This is really a big sign to let you know if you have been really going through your healing journey. If you have not, you're going to be looking or waiting for a man to validate you. But when this queen is healed, I need for my women to be healed. This is when you're going to start acting like a queen. So when this queen is healed and ready to meet her king, you won't see her digging and digging ditches and getting a house built for them. No, queens don't do work because they know their value. The only reason why women can't accept or understand this concept is because you don't really know your worth. So you don't believe that you're a queen. So as a result, you continue to do all the work. So when you behave in this manner, think about what you're telling the man. Then you often wonder, why can't I ever get a real good man that will provide respect and love me? Why? Because instead of waiting for the king who is going to do all the work for you, you settle for anything that comes along. And for some reason, in that moment, you're okay with that. I'm sure all of you guys who weren't healed at one time, you remember that time period. These people that are thinking about going back out there and you're not healed, listen to what I'm saying. Think about it. How many relationships have you been in where you started out doing too much and not knowing how to receive, and the next thing you knew, he was gone. He left and he got married with someone else who was doing nowhere near what you were doing. Now, I know for a lot of people that sounds familiar. And you saw it happen right before your eyes. And that new woman, she probably got the ring. You want to know why she got the ring? Because she made that man do all the work. You know I'm telling the truth, because she didn't do anything compared to what you were doing. And she got the ring because that man had to work for her. Women, if you believe that your value comes from doing all the work, in order to get a good quality man, we may need to talk. Go to my website, risinghigherlife.com, to see if you could benefit from one-on-one coaching. I want my women to become queens. You're not a doormat anymore. Go to my website, look me up. We might need to talk about that. Okay, so now my favorite part of the show, Keeping It Real, where I go on my email or I look at my comments and I answer your questions for you. So today on Keeping It Real, I have a question. It says, hey, Coach Cookie, this is Jessica from Jackson, Tennessee. And I must say, I really enjoy your show and it's really been helping me a lot. I know that I've heard you mention in your personal life story that you were the scapegoat in your family. I think that maybe I also may be the scapegoat in my family, but I'm not sure of what that may all consist of. Could you please give me a definition of a scapegoat, some examples, and why the narcissist feels like they need to have one? Thank you so much for answering my question and keep up the great work. Thank you, Jessica. Hey, girl. Okay, Jessica from Jackson, Tennessee. Okay, let's get into it then. Okay, so now answering this question is going to be really easy for me because you're absolutely right. I did do an episode and I talked about where I was the scapegoat. And yes, I was once the scapegoat for the narcissist in my family. For anyone who has been the scapegoat, it's very hard to pull away because the trauma bonding is so intense. So now, scapegoat is a term most often used to describe the role that somebody has in a narcissistic family system. Now, however, keep in mind that it does not necessarily have to always be in a narcissistic family system. It could happen in other narcissistic systems as well, including workplaces, groups of friends, or even organized community groups. But usually the scapegoat is the person or people in a narcissistic system or group system that gets the worst of the narcissistic person's abuse. The narcissistic person is incapable of regulating disappointments, frustration, their stress, or just basically not getting to get their way. So they lash out, and they lash out at easy targets. And that easy target is often called the scapegoat. Now, the scapegoat is subjected to criticism, mockery, rage, sometimes physical or other forms of abuse and humiliation. It's as though the mere existence of the scapegoat brings out a sense of shame in the narcissistic person, and so they abuse the scapegoat even more. Now, the narcissist gets their power from other people watching them while they are abusing the scapegoat. And these other people that are watching become fearful of what is happening to the scapegoat and wanting to avoid that fate for themselves. And just like a cult, other people in the narcissistic family system or other narcissistic group systems, they get pulled into the narcissistic person's magnetic fold and join the scapegoating to win over the narcissist. So they do this to keep themselves safe in the system in order to survive, so they won't have to deal with the narcissistic abuse. When the narcissist recruits these other family members or co-workers, they're used to triangulate and put more abuse against the scapegoat, who over time becomes the punching bag for everyone in the family system or whatever other narcissistic group system that you're a part of. To be a scapegoat is really harsh. It is absolutely terrible way to have to spend a childhood because it impairs a sense of safety in the world, which impacts identity development and generates core wounds. And a lot of times we walk around with those core wounds for a long time. Scapegoats may experience significant anxiety, not only in childhood, but also in adulthood, such as issues with self-esteem, holding limiting beliefs about themselves, where they will spend most of their lifetime selling themselves short and often don't fully enact on their potential. In more severe cases, scapegoated children, as they become older, may be at risk for even more dangerous behaviors, including self-harm, substance abuse, and sometimes I've even heard of, in some of my sessions, they have like eating disorders. It is like incredibly heavy, painful legacy to carry. However, I'm here for you guys. Help is here. If this is something that you're dealing with and you need someone to help you with this painful legacy, we may need to talk. Go to my website at risinghigherlife.com, set up an appointment for a free consultation to find out if you could benefit from one-on-one coaching. If you have a question that you would like for me to answer, email me. Go straight to my email at heycoachcookie@gmail.com. Just remember, when I answer your questions, I'm going to bring it raw and I'm going to keep it real. This was a really good question. Thank you, Jessica. You guys keep sending in the great questions. Like I said, I love responding to whatever it is that you guys are dealing with and what you need help with. So this is really my favorite part of the show. So please keep sending those questions in. Okay. So now the main topic of the day. Now, let me get into this. So narcissistic abusers who make you feel as if you cannot live a full and meaningful life without them, and living a fulfilling life on your own. They just think that for you, that's just out of the question. Why is that? Because after all, they're thinking, oh, you can't do anything without me. You don't have the capabilities. You don't have the worth. You don't think like me. You don't act like me. You don't breathe like them. If you can't do that, then you're not worthy, to make it and live on your own. And so as this happens, the narcissist has you brainwashed to think that you need someone to make you whole because you're not worthy enough or intelligent enough to be on your own. So you got yourself together and you got away from the narcissist. You got to the point where you said enough is enough. Now, if you've never experienced the negative force of narcissistic abuse, you will never understand how crippling the aftermath of their impact can be. Let me paint a clear picture and walk you through what it looks like when you're involved with the narcissist, and then what happens after you leave the narcissist. So, you've been married to the narcissist for a while, and your partner is going to pick you up for date night after work on the way home. Before he goes to the restaurant, he's going to come pick you up from home, and you guys are going to go to the restaurant. Now, you take time to get ready, and you put on a really nice dress, and you fix your hair all pretty, and you put on some makeup. He calls you and says that he's outside. Now, you've been with your partner for some years now, and so you're used to the logistics of your weekly date night. You get in the car, but you don't feel comfortable with saying anything because he keeps staring at you like something is terribly wrong, like something stinks. Then eventually he says, "What's wrong with your face?" Then you say, "I just put on some makeup." Then he says, "Looks like you should have put on a little more, or you may have had to get somebody to come over there that knew what they were doing, and they should have cut your hair while they were at it because you look like you're about to go outside and pick cotton." You sigh, you don't say anything, you don't reply because you know that you'll be attacked and anything that you say will be used against you. Now, this is just one mild example of what life with a narcissist feels like. All day long, every day, all day. It can impact your emotional and physical state and make you feel as if your own life is drowning. Breaking free from a relationship with a narcissist can be very challenging. And long after you've released from the grip and you left and you're not in his control anymore, the side effects of narcissistic abuse lingers around, and it lingers for a long time. The effect that constant criticism of your every thought can steal your ability to see and enjoy life the way you should see it. Narcissistic abusers are dangerous and they are everywhere. They wear this mask under the many disguises that are masters of whatever they're doing. Behind that thick layer of overconfidence lies a deeply insecure person with a serious sense of entitlement that only manifests against others in subtle ways. So it's so subtle, usually, that they never give away who they really are. But you guys be careful and try not to be fooled and fall trap into their command. Whether you're stuck dealing with a narcissist without any chance of freeing yourself from the situation, or you have managed to free yourself from their sway, seeing or having to speak with this person can trigger negative responses of fear, anxiety, guilt, shame, and other rather difficult to deal with emotions and feelings. A narcissistic abuser will have endless circular arguments with you, most of the time leaving your head spinning and attacking your self-esteem. Arguments with a narcissist are always lost words because the narcissist will always expect to win and will get defensive if you try to make a point. After all, your point of view doesn't matter to them, and it never will. Regardless, the impact of narcissistic abuse is very dreadful because it makes you feel as if you should be punished for being yourself long after they're gone from your life. Now, it's important to know and understand the impact that living with narcissists can have on your overall well-being. Staying in a relationship with this type of person can have serious negative psychological effects on the way you view yourself. Long after I broke free from my prison of control from the narcissist, I still found myself doubting everything. I didn't know who I was or who I was supposed to be without their constant and vigilant eye. It was just like I doubted my thoughts, my actions, and even my love for others. I distrusted my friends and choices and even my ability to live in a normal life. But the biggest impact this type of relationship had on me was feeling as if everything I did was wrong all the time. So as I started really looking at the situation, it was usually things that the narcissist did not like me to do. So long after I had left him, I was still questioning if I should or should not be doing certain things. Now, let me tell you something. When you really break free and you're really dealing with your healing journey, and if you left several narcissists and you had different things, all of them had different personalities. A lot of them had different things they didn't like for you to do. They didn't like certain makeup you wore, certain clothes you wore, certain shoes you wore. They didn't like certain things that you did. They didn't like how you laughed. It was a lot of things. So as you're dealing with this on your healing journey, a lot of times you're going to have a whole lot of different things that you're going to be dealing with that those narcissistic people didn't like about you. So you're going to have some work to do. You'll have some time to get through that healing journey. For example, when I was with one of the narcissists, I was not allowed to drink wine. So when I left, this is just one of the things. I can give you a lot of different examples. But when I left and I really start working on my healing journey, I would question myself if I should have a glass of wine. And so in essence, everything that these narcissistic people in any of those groups that I was associated with, I was always walking around and I was questioning if what I should be doing. And these are just a few more common examples of what you may question in addition to what the narcissist had issues with you. I often wondered if the intentions of others were good and whether they could be trusted. So I had a lot of trust issues. I worried a lot about what others thought about me and how I was perceived because everything that came from the narcissist was just always so negative all the time. I had a difficult time forming genuine and lasting relationships. I'm talking about just friendships with others because I constantly doubted my worthiness. My life with a narcissist left deep scars in my life. It took some time and lots of work for me to come to terms with the fact that not everything I had or said was wrong or it was not bad, and that being able to be myself was all I ever wanted. From the heart, I tell you, a relationship with a narcissist will never work. It never will. Their attitude will always show that they know best, that their way is the right way, that their life is the correct one to live, and that their family is the only one worthy of attention. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, find a way to escape before you lose your sense of your individuality or get lost in their reality. The aftermath of narcissistic abuse can be quite challenging to deal with, and it will take you a long time to realize that being you is not bad after all. Remember, there are millions of people out there who would love and accept you just the way you are. You don't have to change who you are to be loved, and you definitely don't have to be like someone else to be accepted. But please don't rush back into another relationship until you give yourself time to heal. If you're struggling with the aftermath from narcissistic abuse, we may need to talk. Go to my website, risinghigherlife.com, and schedule a free 1-hour consultation to determine if you could benefit from one-on-one coaching. If no one has told you guys today, I love each and every one of you all, and I'm sending you a big hug. This is Coach Cookie, reminding you to love yourself first as we rise higher together. Be blessed, and I'll talk to you soon.